Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. So glad you guys could be here. We are live on TikTok right now. We are also recording on Riverside. I'm not sponsored by either one of those, but I like to talk about them because they have helped me a lot when it comes to creating content. I do appreciate the support from the. I shouldn't be drinking soda while I'm doing this because then I'm going to have gas. I appreciate the support from all the followers, the friends that I've made doing this. I know I don't get out there as often as I should, but I enjoy it. I enjoy bringing you guys current events, all that stuff. So right now, let's get into it right away. The internet is in an uproar right now, and it's over. I feel like ever since the whole George Floyd thing happened, we've been so divided as a country. And then the Israel-Gaza thing, now we're just, or the Russia-Ukraine thing, like we're just so divided as a nation, as a world. And where's the love, man? Why can't we all just get along? Why can't we, put our differences aside and understand, like, hey, guess what? We all bleed the same color. It doesn't matter what's going on in the world right now. We can come together and be friends. But yet we see so much despair and so much adversity to certain sides. Like, I just, the thing is, here's the problem. If you're a Trump supporter, you basically get shunned by the left. And if you're on the left side, you're shunned by Trump supporters. Why can't we come together and understand that we do have common ground? We have a lot of things that we can agree on and a lot of things we can't disagree on. I mean, but be an adult. Just be an adult. And we don't, there's just so much difference in the world right now. And it's like, so for example, one of the things that, one of the stories that I'm sure you're hearing about right now is the whole Shiloh Hendrix thing. And where she had come on and, she had used a slur at a child at a park in Rochester. Well, I'm not condoning that behavior because it's not right. You don't say that to someone. You shouldn't use any kind of words. And I'm seeing both sides of the argument. I'm seeing people on the left saying like doxing her, putting her information out online, talking about, how she's raising money and how immoral and unethical that is. And then I'm seeing people on the right just painting that whole race as like a whole, and it's like, dude, what are you saying? You can't say those kinds of things about people. You can't paint one side with the same brush. You can't paint a certain race with the same brush because it's unfeasible. You can't do that. It's unfair, and you're not really getting to know the character of the people that you're being prejudiced about or judging. It's wild, but I haven't checked the numbers on what she's making so far. I believe it's in the 600,000 range. Her goal is like $1 million. I don't know if she's actually able to cash it out or not. But and then I think the last episode I talked about Carmelo Anthony and what happened there, how much he had raised, and it's weird. Let's put it candidly here for a second. And I'm not trying to offend anybody when I say this, but stop funding people who are stupid. Stop funding people who stabbed someone. Stop funding someone who used a racial slur at a child. Like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? That's got to be the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life. I mean, even some of the usernames on both GoFundMe pages or GiveSendGo's, like the usernames on there are outlandish. Like they're saying like death to whites on the Carmelo Anthony one, and then they're saying like no blacks on the Shiloh Hendrix one. It's crazy. The usernames are just crazy. It's it just goes to show you like we haven't changed all that much since the Civil War. We haven't. And it's an insane world that we live in, It's not the same as when I was a kid because that was a hell of a lot nicer. If there was anything, I mean, I was in the middle of the Rodney King beatings and the George Floyd thing. I was born in between there, which a lot of us probably were. But again, there was another news story that I read. It was a prisoner who was or not a prisoner. He was handcuffed or something, and I believe he perished at the hands of the police officers, and they were all of African American descent. And no one said anything. No one said a single word. No one cared. Why? Why don't you care? Like why don't people care? Like what is that? But hell, what do I know? I'm not subscribing. So the New York Times, there was a bombing in Palm Springs at a fertility clinic. One has passed and 4 injured. The explosion Saturday morning, which occurred in or near a vehicle less than a mile from downtown Palm Springs, California, was an intentional act of terrorism, the FBI said. 1 person is dead and at least 4 are injured in the desert oasis of Palm Springs, California, after a bomb exploded on Saturday morning outside a fertility clinic, damaging buildings and leaving windows shattered across several blocks in what authorities called a terrorist attack. I really hate when news articles they have to use filler words and they kind of just repeat themselves over and over again in that first paragraph. Digressing. This explosion was significant, said Akil Davis, the assistant director in charge of the FBI's Los Angeles field office. Make no mistake, this is an intentional act of terrorism. He added that officials believe the clinic was specifically targeted. Mr. Davis said that the Bureau had begun one of the largest bombing investigations ever in Southern California, and that it was not yet clear whether the event had been an act of domestic or international terrorism. Authorities have identified a person of interest but did not name the person on Saturday afternoon. They also did not say whether the person who died was connected to the blast. Mr. Davis said that we are not actively out searching for a suspect. Excuse me? Excuse me. So, you're not actively out looking for a suspect. So what are you doing then? What are you doing? What are you trying to solve by doing this? You have what kind of leads? If you don't have a person of interest, what kind of leads do you have? I guess I don't know. I'm not a bomb analyst, but what are you doing? Don't you want to find out who did this? Or are they gone? You know what I mean? It's just... I'm not going to tell them how to do their jobs, but that just seems kind of stupid. So, for example, here's an analogy for you. If someone steals your bike and you think you know who did it, are you going to go and try to find that person, or are you just going to do something else? You're probably going to go find that person and get your bike back. So, again, losing your bike is not the same as a bombing, but the fact that they don't have a person of interest or a suspect is just kind of crazy. And it only solidifies the fact that, like, yeah, they probably don't care or know, I guess. But why would you not want to find out? Like, what? It solidifies the fact that there's probably some corruption going on. Like, maybe they know. Kind of like the whole school shooting incidents that happen where this person's been on their radar for like a year and no one says boo. You know what I mean? It's kind of an odd thing to do, is to not pursue this person. Because I'm sure they have someone in mind. I'm sure there's someone in mind, but are they they're not actively searching out searching. Thank you, Mr. Davis, for that quote. That was crazy. So we're continuing here. The explosion was in or near a vehicle parked by the clinic, according to the mayor, Ron DeHart. But many other details were unclear, including the vehicle's make and model. All that was left of it at the scene was an axle, authorities say. That must have been huge. I mean, they did say it spanned across a few blocks, so... The bombing was an isolated incident, and the community was no longer at risk. Andy Mills, the Palm Springs police chief said. Reports of a loud boom and images of broken glass and billowing smoke began to be shared on social media around 11 a.m. Local time. The blast area extended for blocks, and some buildings were severely damaged, with shattered windows visible in many restaurants, shops, and apartment buildings throughout the city's downtown. A phone number for the clinic, American Reproductive Centers, did not appear to be in service on Saturday. A website for the official listed fertility treatments such as in vitro fertilization and egg freezing among its services and described its work helping LGBTQ couples have children. In a Facebook post, the clinic reported that none of its staff were harmed in the explosion and that the eggs, embryos, and other materials in its lab were fully secure and undamaged. Well, that's good. No life was, not no life was lost. One life was lost, so. But none of the staff was harmed, so that was cool. You know, none of the eggs, none of the future generations, the little brain rotties coming. None of that happened, so that's good. That's there's a silver lining in this. We are heavily conducting a complete safety inspection and have confirmed that our operations and sensitive medical areas were not impacted by the blast. The clinic wrote on its Facebook page, adding that it expected to be open for normal operations on Monday. So, I'm trying to get my mic set up here. I don't want my face to be severely covered. But there's damage to the building, though, so it's like, I don't know. I really have no clue what happened. Dr. Maher Abdallah, who runs the clinic, told the Associated Press, "Thank God today happened to be a day we have no patients." Good. That's good. Yeah, that would have been nuts. Planned Parenthood clinics in the area reported no threats of danger, but closed 19 health centers across Southern California on Saturday out of an abundance of caution, a spokesperson said. Palm Springs, about 100 miles east of Los Angeles, is known for its stunning mid-century modern architecture, arid desert landscapes, and thriving LGBTQ community. In 2017, it became the first city in the country with an entirely LGBTQ city council. Politically, Palm Springs is a liberal city in an otherwise more conservative region of California. I think left or right, it doesn't really matter because, when a tragedy like this happens, you don't think about what the sexuality of the person. You don't think about the color of their skin. You shouldn't think about any of that stuff. You just want to help your fellow man or woman or they, them. The area where the blast occurred is on the edge of neighborhoods made famous for vacation homes of Hollywood stars from the past. It sits about 1.5 miles from a large sculpture of Marilyn Monroe, who was known to escape to the desert town. Well, that's great. That's wonderful. The bombing occurred as in vitro fertilization has become increasingly politicized. Why, though? I never understood that. I never understood why that needs to be politicized. Like, if it's a way for them to meddle in people's personal lives. Like, you want to have a kid, but you need a little bit of help, and you may end up with 2 or 3 kids. I don't see why that needs to be politicized. In the debate over reproductive rights while dividing social conservatives, many Christian conservatives who oppose abortion also oppose IVF because they do not support the loss of embryos, which they consider people. Embryos are routinely discarded during IVF if they fail to develop. Prominent Republicans have repeatedly disavowed efforts to limit IVF. President Trump, who has declared himself the fertilization president, has promised to expand access to the procedure. Still, some right-wing Christian activists have moved ahead with efforts to restrict the procedure. Last year, the Southern Baptist Convention, the country's largest Protestant denomination, opposed the use of IVF for the first time. Even though the procedure is popular among evangelical families, evangelical here, I was raised that way. And last year, several state Republican parties added anti-abortion language to their platforms, indicating an openness to restrictions on IVF. On Saturday, a video showed flames licking the shattered terracotta tiles of the clinic's roof as debris clogged its entrance. So let's go back. Let's talk about the politicizing of IVF and why that's a thing. Hold on one quick second. 1 second, please. So the politicization, that's a mouthful. The politicization of IVF is just kind of a weird thing, because it's like if you physically not able to like have kids, you should be able to have the opportunity to have some assistance, no matter what that is. But yeah, I mean, look, I'm a believer, okay? I'm a believer in Jesus. I'm a believer in God. I mean, the thing is, I can have those beliefs, but I'm not going to push them on somebody else and be like, well, you can't do this because of the loss of embryos. You know how wrong that is. Like, dude, you can't just insert yourself into somebody's lives and be like, oh, yeah, well, you know, I don't agree with that, so you shouldn't do it. There's like a fine line, you know, you can't control what other people can do. And I mean, if it's really that bad, like, they'll, you know, learn about that eventually. So, maybe. I don't know. I'm trying to bring this down one more time. I'm so unorganized right now. I like the picture that they painted about, like, the certain, you know, the flames licking up at the, it's a tragedy nonetheless, but I like the picture that they kind of paint for you. So moving on, Claudio Chavez, who works at an upholstery shop near the explosion, said his store's windows had been blown out. I was just in my shop waiting for clients, and all of a sudden it felt like a big explosion, he said. It took out our window. I just saw a bunch of smoke. He said when people came out of homes and businesses onto the street to see what happened, Mr. Chavez and a logistics manager at the shop said he began picking up debris and sweeping up broken glass. Nice. Matt Spencer helped evacuate his nearby apartment complex and then noticed debris in the streets that resembled remnants of a car. He said that he knew it was a car because he could see the tire rims through the flames. Pieces of the car, he said, were blown clear across 4 lanes. Other parts of the car became embedded in the side of a building, he added, and all the windows in a hotel were blown out. Yikes, man. So Scott Pistorius, 61, a construction project manager from Los Angeles, was sitting in his vacation home 4 blocks away from the explosion site when he heard a loud boom. My initial response was earthquake, but in a split second I realized it was too intense, he said. The whole house rattled, and then the glass in the door I saw flexing. Mr. Pistorius said he ran into his backyard where he saw a plume of smoke billowing nearby. He grabbed his camera, got in his car, and drove to the scene. The Desert Regional Medical Center across the street, as well as a liquor store and a pancake house, had windows blown out. He said, A nearby hotel also had doors blown off, and its portico was damaged, Mr. Pistorius said. Mr. Pistorius said the roof of the fertility clinic had collapsed and that the entire backside of the building had been blown out. Debris from the explosion was shot across the street to the other curb, he said. That was a very intense explosion. So they said they're going to be open again on Monday. Like, it really sounds like if they have, the roof is collapsed and the back is blown out, I don't think they're going to be taking too many patients on Monday. But it's weird. It's almost like you hear about explosions, people going nuts with a gun. It's like you hear it more often nowadays. It's kind of a weird aspect of life. It just seems like normal now. And I don't think we should be jaded to this kind of tragedy that happens. Obviously, they're not going to name the person who perished in the explosion, but the people that I'm most worried about are the people who are eating pancakes. Imagine you're out with your family. You haven't seen them in 6 years. You have your uncle and your cousins and your aunt and your sister's friends and your nieces and nephews. You're having a good time at the pancake house, and all of a sudden, boom! You better hope you didn't get a window seat, because you're going to be eating glass, buddy. And that, I hear that's not that great when you're eating pancakes. Glass is not a good topping. Kind of hurts a little bit. But, yeah, I mean, I guarantee you the windows in the liquor store weren't the only things that were blown out. I guarantee you the bottles were also blown out. So, free booze, right? So it's not all bad, There's some good things to be said. No, it's just tragic that this would have happened, and this is kind of a normal occurrence. I was implored by an earlier viewer to look something up, and I think I'm gonna, what did he call it? I don't want to look at this. What is this? It's called Sally Face. It's a video game. A dark adventure game. What am I supposed to say about this? So for example, there's just some things like anything that you look up today, and I'm not homophobic, okay? I'm not homophobic at all. I'm literally not. I'm just going to say that over and over again because I'm just not. I don't think a person's sexuality needs to be slipped into every little stinking thing in the world that needs to be out there. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care who you're fucking. I don't care about that. I don't care about any of that. I don't care about what kind of person you prefer. It's none of my business, and I just don't care. It doesn't need to be there. Just like if a straight person, you read about a straight person. Oh, they had this many sexual partners. Like, I don't care. I didn't ask. For example, like Gene Simmons from Kiss. He did that to all those girls and blah blah. I don't even remember how many he was with. Let's look, shall we? It just really grinds my gears. And here I am talking about it, though. That's even more ironic, isn't it? Gene Simmons slept with nearly 5,000 women. Gross. Why? And he's proud of it, too. He's proud. Just like that girl who did the OF thing and she slept with like 100 guys in like a day or 12 hours or something like that. Like, why? What's the point? Some people just look at sex like it's an object, like it doesn't matter. But it does matter. It should matter. Today's day and age, like this society, it just does not matter anymore. It's kind of scary. But I think Lemmy from like Motorhead, he slept with a lot of women too. It's like, why are you proud? You're proud? You should probably get tested. That seems like more of a... Where was I getting at with this? Oh, yeah. So, like, anytime, like, anything that's what kind of person these, a famous person's interested in, or, I looked up that Sally Face game or whatever, and it's like, are there any LGBT members or characters in the game? It's like, who cares? Are you really going to feel better about the game if you know that? Are you really going to feel better? Like, is that really going to make your life easier? I doubt it. Because I don't care. But again, if I don't care, why do I care enough to talk about it? Like, why does it matter? Yeah. And then, Simmons and Lemmy, sleeping with 10,000 girls collectively. It's like, ugh. Why is that something to be talked about? Yeah, I don't know. That was a weird topic. That was a weird thing to look up. Sally Face. I've never heard of it. Don't really care about it. No offense. No offense to whoever gave me that topic, but it doesn't really interest me all that much. There was something else I was going to talk about. Oh, so there's going to be alleged peace talks going on between Trump and Zelensky, and then Trump and Putin Monday. So that'll be interesting. That'll be, it's been 3 years almost. We've been going at this over here in Russia and Ukraine. It's time to just call it quits. Probably should have never started in the first place, and we shouldn't have been funding it for as long as we have. If you listen to this podcast, you know how vocal I am about war and how much I don't care for it and how much we don't need to be involved. We don't need to be funding it. We don't need to. What difference are we making? You're clearly choosing a side when you fund a war. And I heard that we were also cutting ties with funding Israel. I don't know how true that is, but that needs to stop too. The India-Pakistan thing lasted for like a week. It was over with. It's done. Inflation is down like 3%. Gas is averaging out at $3.13 a gallon. It's not perfect, but it's getting there. I think we traveled yesterday, the family and I, and we saw, what was it, 289. 289. Still high, but it's going down. I mean, we even looked at like egg prices yesterday. We were paying $9.79 for 18 of them a couple months ago, and now we're paying $5.70 something for 18 of them. So it's going down. It's getting there. It's only been a few months since Trump's been in office. I'm not going to say everything's perfect yet because it's not. It probably won't be perfect, but we're getting there. So things are looking up. Things are getting dealt with. I just really think people need to start putting their differences aside, and we have to realize, what, we're all American. Who cares if we don't agree with everything? But some people just aren't happy unless they're complaining, and it's actually kind of sad. It's kind of sad, but I heard that the FBI is now, or not FBI. Yeah, I think the FBI is going after James Comey, the former head of the FBI. going after him for questioning the Trump administration. They're freezing. And I don't want you guys to think I'm like all pro Trump, because I'm not. I voted for him, but I'm not like MAGA by any means whatsoever. I just think that some of the things that are happening right now, like deporting people that write op-eds about the Israel-Gaza thing, like being deported for that is a little weird. But if you're out like protesting or doing something weird, I mean, it's just, I don't think that constitutes like deportation. It's just my opinion. I mean, if you're on a student visa, like what are you gaining by protesting? Like, what's the point of that? Does it need to be done? Does protesting actually need to be done? Does it even make a difference? I feel like protesting is like voting. If it actually made a difference, they wouldn't let us do it. You just see too much of it. You see too many things going on. Like yesterday, we were like 45, 50 miles away from our hometown in some metro area, but there were men walking around protesting circumcision for boys. They were saying it was sexual abuse, no consent. And they were walking around in the rain, mind you, wearing all white, and they had blood stains on their crotch. Not real blood, but it was humorous. It was kind of funny, because it's like, what? Who's gonna see that and go, you know what? I don't think I'm gonna get my son circumcised. I don't know if certain cultures just don't do it, and that's fine. I don't care. It's like, again, it doesn't matter to me. Like, it shouldn't matter what's in a person's pants or how they're hardwired. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. But walking around wearing all white with a blood stain on your crotch and saying that circumcision is sexual abuse is kind of a wild take, if I'm being honest. It's very odd. Doesn't make much sense. You're not really making a difference, because a lot of people are pretty set in their ways culturally. They'll either do it for cleanliness reasons, or because their parents tell them to get it done, or they won't do it because it's just something they don't do. And I don't think it really matters all that much, honestly. It doesn't. It just, who cares? Who cares? Some girls like it, some girls don't like it. That's fine. I know mine was done for, I don't know what reason mine was done for, but that was a little bit TMI. But anyway, it's just a weird thing to protest. It's a weird thing to protest periods. It's a weird thing to protest abortions. It's a weird thing to protest a lot of certain things. It just doesn't really make any sense. But yeah, we are living in a very weird world right now with no end in sight. And I just pray that it kind of comes to an end here pretty soon, because this isn't the world that I grew up in. And I don't think this is the world that you guys grew up in. Everything's posted on the internet. Everything is... No one has any, like, discretion anymore. No one has any, like, privacy anymore. And I'm not saying that to sound like a kook where people are listening to us, but people, like, have no shame anymore in what they post anymore. It just seems odd. There's no, like, class anymore when it comes to people. There's certain things you post online, and there's certain things you don't post online. There's people who post videos, and their houses are just like a complete mess. And it's like, why? What's the... Aren't you embarrassed? I mean, don't you have some sort of a clean your house before you post a video, like the get ready with me stuff? Like, I don't know. I think mental health is a really big issue in this world today too, where a lot, not this world, this country. Mental health is a huge problem in this country. Um, because we've been, generations after us, like my generation, we're like the first generation with internet, like fully functional internet. Like we've seen it, and it holds no bounds. Um, there's nothing you can't find out. And for kids being raised this way on the internet, like you don't need to learn how to read a book anymore. You don't need to learn how to read about history. You don't need to figure out. You don't need to go and look what a word means in a dictionary, because you can just look it up on your phone. You can just Google it, and it's there in like 5 seconds. And it takes the drive and the incentive. It takes it away from people where they need to search for the answer. But I don't. There was one other thing I wanted to talk about too. I'm just going on a rant here, and I don't know how credible this story is, but I hear that Javier Milei. Ooh, maybe it is real. Wait a minute. Oh, wow. It might be real. Oh. So, let's talk about a conspiracy, shall we? This is a fun one. It's talks about after World War II, when Hitler was not captured, but when the Allies were closing in, they found his body burned, whatever. They never identified the body. So there's shows made, there's shows based on it. There's some sort of a conspiracy that he had fled to Argentina. That a lot of the upper ranking SS guards and agents and had been funneled through to Argentina. And Javier Milei, the president of Argentina, he released 1,850 files on activities of Nazi fugitives in Argentina. Files now accessible to the public online include details of banking operations, intelligence reports, and more. And there's a headline. Oh, man. There's a headline that says Joseph Mengele, who was the doctor, right there on an Argentinian newspaper. Argentina has released to the public a trove of declassified documents detailing the activities of Nazi fugitives who found refuge in the country after World War II. The files, previously held under state secrecy rules, were released on the order of President Javier Milei. A formal request this is so fucking crazy, you guys. It's like, I'm not surprised. But I am shocked. No, I'm not shocked. It just seems weird to actually be able to talk about this. Anyway, a formal request from United States Senator Steve Daines, Republican Montana, and representatives from the Simon Wiesenthal Center during meetings in February with Milei delivered fresh momentum to the move, but the government insists the move is rooted in a broader commitment to the transparency. Makes sense. The General Archive of the Nation, AGN, published 1,850 declassified documents in total. They include records of banking operations, secret intelligence files, and previously confidential Defense Ministry reports. The material is now available for the public to view on a government website. Among the files are detailed investigations carried out between 1950s and the 1980s by the Federal Police's Foreign Affairs Directorate, Argentina's Intelligence Services, State Intelligence Secretariat, or SIDE, and the National Gendarmerie Border Guard. I was worried the live was going to shut down. National Gendarmerie Border Guard organized into 7 case files. Also, they include confidential presidential decrees signed between 1957 and 2005. Historians hope the documents will shed light on a wide range of events, including arms deals, budgetary changes, and the organization of Argentina's intelligence services and the fight against communism during the Cold War. Copies have been provided to the Simon Wiesenthal Center, which is probing the Credit Suisse bank's links to Nazism. So Mengele was in Argentina. They shed a little bit more light on that. That's just a taste of it. The video I saw on Thursday had basically said that Hitler had lived there for like 20 years after the war and fathered 2 children with Eva Braun. I don't know. Is it out of the ordinary? No, because if you think about like Operation Paperclip, where they basically, the Allies, the American forces brought SS guards over from, high-ranking positions and medical fields over to NASA to work in America. And we're supposed to just turn a blind eye to that like it didn't happen. What was that town? There was a town in Bavaria. Not Bavaria, I'm sorry. I think it was Chile? Here we go. Let's see. There is a Bavarian town in Argentina called La Cumbrecita, located in the province of Cordova. It was founded by German immigrants in the 1930s. Weird. Seems. What kind of world is this, man? The town has a unique Alpine feel, with its architecture, street signs in German, and even maple. Why are there so many German towns in Argentina? Could it be what we think it is? No, this isn't the one I'm thinking of, though. There was one that's no longer open. It's like a landmark thing right now, and I don't know if it's real or just BS. Yeah, I don't know, man. It just, like I said, I'm not shocked, but it just seems weird to be reading about these kinds of things, being declassified. And speaking of declassification, when the hell are we going to get those Epstein files? Is that ever happening? Probably not. They're going to get those JFK files and figure out who did that. MLK, RFK. We got to get on that. But I did hear Let's talk about some good news. I heard that In-N-Out Burger is going to be removing harmful dyes from their food. That's cool. So I don't have an In-N-Out Burger in the Midwest. Don't get me wrong. In-N-Out Burger is amazing. I love it. Their fries are pretty good. What's it called? Animal style or something like that? The sauce. Anyway, it's getting late. I think I'm gonna shuffle off to bed. I do appreciate you guys hanging out. I appreciate you listening to me rant about absolutely nothing. This is 45 minutes in the bag here. So thanks for kicking it, guys. I do appreciate it. You can catch this on YouTube and Spotify if you weren't listening live. And we'll be back again in a week, 2 weeks. I don't know. It just depends on what happens in the world. Politics are getting boring, I'll be honest. But hey, be good to yourselves and be good to each other, because life is short. And life sucks, but you know what? Suck harder. So have a good one, guys. Take it easy.